Some people would say that financial success means having enough money to take care of their families and live in a nice place. Some people would consider themselves financially successful if they could retire comfortably and have no debts, while others might think it means having millions to give away and help the poor, and so on. No matter how you look at it, being financially stable takes a lot of stress away from a person. Before we begin our countdown of 8 assets that will propel you to financial success, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon as well. Number 8. Private equity. Private equity is an investment of capital in a company that is privately owned. Private equity is appealing to investors because it gives them a better return than public equity. In private equity, you can put money into a private business and get a share of ownership. This can be a business that is already open or a new one. This means that the investor will get a share of the business's profits and a lump sum if the business is ever sold. This equity requires a pretty big investment, and the investors must be accredited or venture capitalists. Putting money into a business you haven't started is risky, so you should do a lot of research before you do it. Number 7. Mutual funds. A mutual fund is basically a way for investors to pool their money and have it invested on their behalf by a fund manager. It can also be thought of as a group of assets that are managed together and whose profits are split in a fair way. Treasury bonds, treasury bills, stocks, and other assets that go up in value are the main things that are invested. Mutual funds are a great way to grow your money and net worth because they have a lot of different types of investments. One benefit is that they are easy to buy because they can be bought through many brokerage firms. This asset also has some tax advantages depending on how it is invested, which makes it a better choice for most investors. Number 6. Certificate of deposit. A certificate of deposit is a document that a bank gives to someone who puts money in the bank for a certain amount of time at a certain interest rate. This is a good way to increase the value of your asset, especially if you don't need the money for a while. Instead of letting the money sit in a bank account with no interest, you should put it in a cash deposit account. This is a low-risk investment, and most of the time, the interest rate is not very high. You can buy the certificate of deposit at the bank of your choice. To make sure your money is safe, make sure the bank insures deposits. That way, if the bank ever goes out of business, your money will still be safe. When you put the money in the bank will pay you the agreed-upon interest. When the time for the deposit is up, you'll get your money back plus any interest that has been added. Number 5. Collections. A hobby that many people enjoy is collecting little things. Many of us don't realize how valuable some of this stuff can be, which is surprising. Even if you have to pay money to collect the items, you'll be happy with what you get back when you sell them. The biggest risk is that you can't tell if the items or assets will be worth a lot in the future. When you do some research, you'll have at least a general idea of what similar items are worth right now. This is mostly important if you are just starting to collect. This is easy for experienced collectors who have been in the market for a long time and have learned a lot. Number 4. High-yield saving account. Most of the time, a high-yield savings account gives you more interest than a regular savings account. But a high-yield account comes with more risks than a regular account. Everything in this world has a risk, but the smart way to deal with it is to understand the risk and set up some ways to reduce it. This investment will give you a good return on your money, and the more you put in, the better the return will be. The rates will change if the economy is having trouble, but most of the time, you will still get a good return. When investing in this asset, it's important to do research to find the real players on the market who have been tried and tested and have built a good name for themselves. Number 3. Real estate. Real estate is also called real property, which is land and anything else that is permanently attached to it. Real estate can be empty land, industrial property, commercial property, or even residential property. People often say that real estate is one of the assets that appreciates the most. Most people have built their wealth by buying and selling real estate, building rentals for both residential and commercial use, building and selling property, farming, and so much more. When you buy property and keep it for a while, you are likely to make more money than when you just buy and sell. Time is a very important part of this asset because its value tends to go up or appreciate over time. Number 2. Stocks. A stock is a type of security that lets the person who owns it own a piece of a business, organization, or corporation. The owner gets a share of the company's assets and the money it makes. How much is given out depends on how much money has been put in. Each piece of stock is called a share. Buying and selling stocks is done according to rules set by the government to make sure investors are safe from scams that could cause them to lose their money. The stock market is the most common place to buy and sell stocks. There are a lot of online stockbrokers that make it easy for investors to buy and sell stocks. Still, you need to do your research and figure out which brokers are real. Number 1. Bonds. A bond is a loan from an investor to someone who needs money. The lender can be the public, a single person, or a company as a whole. Most of the time, the borrower is either the government or a business. Details are always given about the terms of payment, the interest to be paid, and when the loan will be paid off. Bonds are things that can be bought and sold. Most of the time, they give the lender a steady income. Since the interest rates are always the same, you know exactly how much you'll get back when the bond is paid off. This means you can be sure that your money will always get better. When choosing a bond, you will have to do your research so you know which asset can fit into your investment portfolio. So these are the 8 assets that will propel you to financial success. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Press the bell icon for latest updates. Thanks for watching.